All right, so today I'm out here on my tractor, and I was thinking to myself, a couple of people have asked, how did I make money using my tractor? So today I want to talk about some of the different things that I did with my tractor, how I started my business, some of the ways I marketed my business, how I decided what implements to buy, and inevitably how I made money with my tractor. So if this is something you want to make money with, and you're thinking about starting a business with your tractor, or just doing that little extra for a side hustle, let's take a look at some of the different things that I took into account. Let's go. So I started my business in 2013 after purchasing a 2013 Kubota L3200. It came in a package deal. I bought it out of a tractor store. It was a 32 horsepower tractor. It came with a trailer, not a great one, but a trailer nonetheless, a brush hog, and a box blade. And then I purchased from a family member a tiller for my tractor, old Land Pride tiller, so I could till my garden and other people's gardens. The initial was to do around my 4-acre lot here. I had a bunch of landscaping to do. I had a bunch of ditches to dig, dirt work, tree trimming. I just had so much to do around this house to get it up to speed here. And I just thought, maybe I can help make some of the payments by doing a little bit with my side, doing a little bit on the side with for family members, friends, having a large family myself. There was already people asking me, hey, when you get that tractor, just give me a call. I got plenty of work for you. I'm like, yeah, sure. They're like, no, I'll pay you. So it kind of started with that, and then we'll talk about how else it developed. So the first thing and foremost you need to do is tractor research, skid steer research. What are you doing with it? What are you going to do with it? Are you just buying it for yourself? Are you buying it for a business? Are you thinking about just going into this business? So that's a big thing is, do you already have the equipment necessary to start? The biggest thing is for me was having the right truck or other vehicle to pull my equipment along with the trailer itself. So those are two big things. It does take a lot of effort to get started with the business. So I would suggest that you think about how much time do I have? Is this one day a week, one day a month, one day a year? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's just as needed for friends and family. Maybe you just want to make some extra beer money. I'm not sure. So think about how much money and how much time you're going to spend doing it. Is this going to be your full-time job? It's tough to get started. You have to build up clientele. You have to build up equipment. So there's lots of things that you want to do. Is this going to be a sole proprietor or corporation? Am I just going to run it myself? Am I going to have other people? And then, what's the need in your area? Is it a big need? I live in a rural area, and there was a lot of people that needed different things done for them, as I did myself, but they didn't want to pull the trigger, and, well, frankly, they didn't know how to run a tractor or wanted to learn. So for me, growing up, I grew up on a farm as well, running equipment, things like that. So it was an easy transition for me. And after thinking about how much it would cost to pay everybody else to do all the stuff I needed around my house, that kind of sold it for me. Also, what's your area? What area are you going to cover? Are you going to cover your county, your state, your city, just your portion of just your portion? Not sure. So, all right. And just make sure there's a demand. And to go back to implements, you want to make sure that you have equipment as well. Like, do I have a bucket, forks, grapples, all that kind of stuff. These are some of the tips that I picked up over the last decade, some of the things I did, how I might do something differently, and things like that. So the first thing I did was I had interest from my own family members. They said they would like to purchase some of my time through money, and have me come over and work for them with my tractor. I thought this was a good learning experience until I really got to know how long it took me to do things. So first thing I did was I spent the money on gas, went over, did some jobs for some family, gave them a great deal because I just kind of used them as guinea pigs to say, hey, hey, I haven't done this for a while. I haven't done this for that long. So, you're going to help me out and I'm going to help you out. And it's a learning experience. So that's how I started with a few people I knew. Everyone is a customer. Everyone is potentially a client. I've talked to more people and they're like, oh, you do that? I got work for you. Whether it be at work, random people I met at Walmart or Home Depot. I mean, just anywhere. People, you start talking to them. You got to have some, personality when it comes to running your own business. That's how you're going to get jobs. So tools I used in the business. First thing I did was I went straight out, got a business card, and it was okay. It really wasn't that great. I used my personal email, my personal phone. I would have scratched that. If I had to do again, I would actually go out and get I did eventually, but I originally would have gotten a Gmail account. Really easy to set up a business account through Gmail. You can do, jsmithtractorworks@gmail.com, and you can set up any handle you want. I'm sorry, any name you want, and you can just @gmail.com. Everybody knows Gmail pretty much. Very easy. There are also apps out there where you can get a business phone number, sometimes even on Google. And so you don't have to get the two mixed up with your business email. Next thing I would do, really simple, probably take you 5 minutes. Take a picture of your tractor, go to Facebook, set up a business page. Now you have something that makes you appear to have something out there on social media, which makes you seem more legit. You have an email address and you have a phone number, and it's pretty much free. Next thing I would do is I would go and I would get yourself a business card. It doesn't have to be too fancy. Don't go too extravagant. Just get a simple one. That information on it, phone number, email, your name. Maybe if you've came up with a slogan, fast, reliable, whatever that might be. That's what I would do in my first steps. And then I would go to marketing myself. At the time, I started on Craigslist, so it kind of dates myself a little bit, but I don't really use Craigslist much these days, but some people do. That's where I started. Most people go to Facebook Marketplace, and they'll post ads out there, and you can refer them to your page if you want. You can refer them to, you can put your number out there, your business number. And then the next thing you could do is I've never used one, but you may, if you decide to, like I think it's Angie's List or places like that give you work. People are looking for work. They call them, they come out, they promote you, they give you the job, and you give them a piece of the pie. So I never really liked using those. I like to get my own work. I don't like to rely on somebody else. So I know people that have done that. Some favorable, some not. So just be mindful and do your research on that one. One of the things I've marketed myself to is I would often meet people at garage sales or trade fairs or craft shows, and I would go, oh, yeah, looks like you need your driveway done. And they'd be like, yeah, I do. You know anybody? Like, yeah, I do it. And I was like, yeah, I can give you a bid, or sometimes I give them a bid right there. It was a great time to meet people. Went to garage sales on a Saturday in my neighborhood. Worked out really good. And then another thing is, if you drive around, you see a bunch of stuff, a bunch of driveways, people that need work. Write down their address, send them something in the mail. Put a business card, envelope, say, hey, I'm new to the town. Just, I'm new to a new business, starting a new business. Handwritten letter, maybe even a handwritten. It goes a long way. You'd be surprised. So, just interacting with people, you never know what they might need. Next thing I did was I would always ask people what else they needed. One of the things I would always do is at the end of a job, they'd be like, hey, I'm here with the tractor. I got this bucket on here. It can lift 1,000 pounds. So if you need something, oftentimes, oh, I've been wanting to move this big old rock for 10 years, and you move it in like 5 minutes. And it's a great opportunity for you to showcase other things that you can do. And also you're giving them something a little extra, that little add-on and value added, so that they'll call you back next time, or they'll tell their friend, right? You don't have to do it, just do it. And it's a great opportunity. When you name your services, some of the things that I would call, I can, grade your driveway, or I can, till up your garden. I would, maybe name something a little bit different. Gravel restoration, or driveway restorations, excuse me. Or refurbish your garden this year with, tilling, right? Or restore your yard, yard restorations, overseeding, things like that. So those are some of the tips. Hopefully you find those helpful as well. Being competitive in your market and how to price yourself accordingly. First and foremost, you're doing the research right now. You're watching a video, doing some research online, see what the average goes for. 75, $100 an hour is fairly average for what I've seen out there. When I first started out, I was only charging $50 an hour. It was way too cheap, at least with the expenses I had, pulling up with, $40,000 worth of equipment, and you're charging $50 an hour, right? And that doesn't include all the expenses that come with it. $100 an hour could be reasonable if you're, in that, in your market. 150, it really depends on your market and your area, location, things like that. Look at what your competitors are doing. How much are they charging? Oftentimes, you're not the only person there to give a bid, Ask a person that you're doing a bid for, maybe not once you do the bid, but, sometimes people forego that information. Like, wow, they wanted like $2,000. Why are you so much cheaper? And, just be like honest. Well, I think I can do it in 4 hours. This is why. Well, they were going to charge me way more than that. Well, I'm sole proprietor. I do it myself. It's not my full-time job, whatever that reason might be. I always started out bidding hourly, and I find out that you end up giving an estimate anyway. So why not just give a bid in the beginning? Say, it's $400. Instead of saying, well, it's $100 an hour. Well, how long do you think you're going to take it? Well, it's 4 hours. Okay, so $400. So just give that bid up front, give yourself a little wiggle room, at the end. And, if you get done early, they've already agreed to pay you that, and there's no reason for you to, stay around. Oh, I got to get 4 hours. I told them 4 hours, right? And then the next thing is you can, sometimes you might go a little over the 4 hours, and oftentimes you'll be under the 4 hours if you bid accordingly. So it kind of balances out in the long run. Also make sure that you add in all the other things that come with it. If you're running, giving free estimates, or you're running around, picking up equipment that you need, seed for a job, or having dirt hauled in, that all takes time. Anytime you rent something, maybe it's a stump grinder or something like that. I rented those one time for a job. You got to add that into the estimate. Make sure that you're willing to say no. Sometimes it's okay to stop and think, do I really want to do this job? Is it really worth my time? Nobody else wants to do it. There's a reason. And some people don't want to pay the price. They want the cheapest possible. They don't care, what the quality is. They just want somebody to come in and do it. And, be willing to say no to those jobs. You don't have to do every single job. If you do better jobs and you're able to charge what you're worth, then, you can make up for those. So especially going out there, I know there's a lot of jobs that I probably like, I'm not going to do them now. I did them then. I wouldn't do them again. It really wasn't, didn't really make any money on them. So what is the true cost of doing business? Well, a lot of people be like, oh man, I made $1,000 last weekend. Yeah, but did you really? And so, that was what you received. It's not actually what you earned. And you have to think about, I spent 2 hours getting my equipment ready. I spent another hour changing the oil in the tractor. I had to go and put new tires on the truck, or had a flat on the tire in the trailer, had to go fix it. Regular maintenance. These are all things that cost, wear and tear, depreciation. You should have insurance. Check with your local insurance agency. Get liability, insurance. It costs money to do free estimates, right? It costs your time and your gas. Advertising. Are you paying someone to help you with advertising? Are you paying employees? Do you have any employees? That all comes things you have to think about when doing business. For me, so just some things that I think that was, what is the most profitable and least profitable for when I had my business. And I think the couple things that I would say the least profitable would probably be the small jobs, right? So the, hey, can you come, put 2 buckets of dirt around my house and fill in this hole. And inevitably, if I was not on my tractor, then I was losing money. So an example would be, bringing in a small load of dirt, having to carry it to a spot, even, a lot of hand work like rake, shoveling dirt, shoveling rock, moving it by hand. And those jobs were inevitably the least profitable. Now, I wasn't running my equipment, but it wasn't something I really wanted to do. So, having good help for that was always good. But I found those to be the least profitable. And I would say maybe brush hog work. Now, you can make good money doing brush hog work. Also, I wasn't my favorite thing to do. So I would say that was probably my least profitable. And because I would just charge by the hour or by the acre. And I think for the most profitable, I would say the 2 things that I would do, gravel work. If you watched the previous video I did on the TR3, utilizing that tool, while it was expensive, was very much paid for by the jobs that I got. It's very expensive to bring gravel in, and oftentimes I could redo a driveway without having to bring any gravel work. People would get, estimates for $2,500, $3,500, and I could do it for, 20% of that and not bring any gravel in. And it would take me, people were more than happy to pay the prices for that because, it was saving them, 80% on new gravel, and they were very pleased with the results. So that was probably the most profitable by far of anything that I did. Second would be tilling gardens. Tilling gardens wasn't gravy, but in this cost of doing things, I could go in and till a 50 by 50 garden in, 15 minutes. And for that person to go in and actually go rent a tiller, go pick it up, they'd spend 6 hours, 7 hours, and it'd take me 15 minutes. And it looked better. It was done better. They were like, there's no way I'm paying, $50 to rent a tiller or $100 to rent a tiller when I can pay you $100, $150 and get my whole Saturday back. So that was probably the 2 most profitable things I think that I did. And then what I would do to help increase my profits would be to line them up. And what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is I would literally go in and I would set up, spring being, the time most people plant gardens, whether it be April, May, June, even early June. I'd be like, okay, well, I can do you a little bit better deal if you can wait till Saturday the 15th. And then on the 15th, I would have, 5, 6, 7 tilling jobs. I think the most I did in one day was 8. And, it was like $100 each. And so every one of those jobs, I would go in and I would, I already have the equipment on, so I wouldn't have to load and unload. I kind of set up a circle around, and so they would be in the same place, so I wouldn't have to backtrack. Not always. I could not always do that, but that helped increase my profit. So being efficient was probably the best thing that I did. All right, so those are some of the tips and tricks I did starting my own tractor business. Or skid steer, you could use it for that. So everybody, thank you for watching. If there's anything you'd like to hear more about, drop your questions in the comments. And thanks for watching. I truly appreciate it.